Good afternoon. Take your seat. Your first name is Pratap or Sivakishore?
So my whole name, first name is Pratap Sivakishore.
So it's the complete thing.
Yes, sir.
So I'll address you as Pratap.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Sure. This is your fifth attempt, fourth attempt.
It is my third attempt, sir.
Third attempt. So what happened in the first two attempts?
First two attempts I cleared the prelims, but I couldn't clear the mains.
You couldn't clear the means. And you had the same option, political science.
Yes, sir. I continue with the same option.
Okay. So from this, what I gather is you are a B.Tech engineer. Okay.
Yes, sir.
In something as specialized as biotech engineering. Then you go and do an M.Tech in financial engineering. Presently also working. And you're also an aspirant for almost as many number of years as you've been working
Yes.
in the private sector. Have you been with this firm right from day one?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And after all of that, you are also an aspirant for civil services.
Yes, sir.
So with a highly specialized sort of education, private sector job, which is not altogether bad as far as the remuneration is concerned. What brings you to civil services?
Sir, civil services has been in my back of my mind since my school days. I was educated in Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya, Nehru, for which the chairperson is the district magistrate. However, during my college days and even when I was working, a particular incident I would like to share. I was working for a pest detection tool using artificial intelligence for greenhouses in Japan. At the same time, we also have a similar project within India, uh, targeting the same kind of idea. While in the Japan, we were able to finish the project and we successfully deployed the solution, and it is now being used in 10,000 greenhouses. And the Japanese team is already moving to South Korea for implementing the same solution. However, we could not move much ahead with the same idea in India. What facilitated the idea in Japan was the agricultural scientists visit these greenhouses regularly every 15 days. They collect the data, and also Bosch has received 3 million euros as a funding to realize this idea. I think if we can provide such policy directions, if I could utilize what I have learned throughout my education and my experience as a data scientist, I think I can add value within India for all these sectors, especially given we are moving towards evidence-based policy making and evidence-based product making.
That's fine, but as you rightly know, Bosch could put in $3 million in it, 3 million euros in it. The government of India doesn't have more than 6,000 rupees for its farmers.
Yes.
So whatsoever insights you might have gained, it's a very simple problem. Possibly is going to be an extremely frustrating thing working with government after having had worked with the private sector, wherein you did have space, you did have the autonomy to do things. Possibly with all the systemic restrictions that the government sector does offer, maybe most of the things that you are planning for or hinting at or aspiring for possibly will never be achieved. So,
Sir, restrictions and challenges also exist in the multinational companies. Given the size of India and the limited resources we have, it is expected that we have these challenges. But as a citizen, it is for us to give our best and to ensure that we can get solutions. Wherever the challenges exist, the solutions can be very, very intelligent, and I think challenges force us to come up with more innovative solutions. I think that can be
do
done.
you know of, since the place you come from is Nellore, it's an extremely difficult terrain as far as functioning by government is concerned. Do you know, as far as Nellore is concerned, of any such domain which was challenging, wherein intervention by a single individual public official made some sort of impact or difference on the ground?
So may I take some time to recall?
Absolutely.
So, in Nellore district, the government schools uh, were very well present. However, the government schools were losing trust with the competition provided by the coaching institutes, come colleges like Narayana and Sri Chaitanya. Uh, those people who can afford those coaching fees were getting better education, and the coaching institutions were also successful to get the best students once they have shown some promise of the to be better performing in the real exams. And also the teachers are being hired. If they see potentially good teachers, they were drawn to the coaching services. So our district magistrate came up with an idea to pull up the resources within the district. If they see some promising candidates, they took them into some central location and also
Provided them with coaching.
sorry, sir. No, sir. Not the exact coaching, but the coaching teachers were away from the same government schools and colleges.
When did this
So,
happen?
which has proven, sir, it happened around 2010.
2010. Okay. And who was this officer that you're talking about?
Sir, he is Mr. Ravichandra.
And what is the status of the program now?
Sir, currently I'm not aware of the details. I think it has been expanded more.
If you're not aware of the details, how do you know that it has been expanded?
So I just heard about the expansion of it because I get to talk to few students who have a very
So have the coaching institutes been closed down?
No, sir, they haven't been closed down, but I see the trust levels for the government institutions have increased. Now people are not very reluctant to send their kids to the government schools where they see.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir. There are
Are
some
you
schools
sure?
which have been
Have you
gained the
taken
trust.
a look at the ASAP report on education, school education in India for 2018?
Sir, as a
Have you
report,
taken a look at the proportion of enrollment between government schools and private schools?
yes, sir. I'm not aware of the exact details, but I see the same problem where government schools are losing out kids while the private sector has been.
And Nellore is an exception to that.
So I'm not saying Nellore as a complete exception, but given when the officers have shown the dedication, there were certain incidents where we could show the positive change. What I'm trying to imply is positive change is always possible, and
Positive change is always possible is too dramatic a statement to make. Sounds nice as far as poems and films are concerned. Doesn't work in reality. Reality is much different, much different.
sir, I think even in reality it could be done given the success we have in
Be
Israel.
done is different. That's what I'm telling you. It's never done.
I
You filed for a patent for pest incidence prediction in Japan. Where was the fieldwork for this done?
this fieldwork was done completely in Japan.
In Japan. So you were in Japan.
Yes, sir, I went to Japan.
So from what date to what date?
Sir, I visited Japan, but it is not that I completely worked there. I visited in 2017 for a duration of 20 days, and also in 2016 for a duration of 20 days again. It was a project facilitated and led by the Japanese, and the data, etc., and everything is collected there.
So what is your role in this patent filing?
So my role is to provide the machine learning algorithm which uses the data and to make the predictive model which facilitates that smart agriculture concept.
Is there any specific pest we are talking about?
Yes, sir. The first pest we targeted is grey mold disease, a fungal disease in tomatoes.
In tomatoes. Okay. 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 So what's the process? How does it work?
Sir, the domain experts found that the fungal disease uh, is more likely to come up when the humidity is higher and also the temperature facilities. So there is some pattern where this disease risk is higher. So it is best for us to spray the pesticides when we think that disease pest is risk is higher. So using machine learning, we found out those patterns where the humidity and temperature are higher and which follows certain pattern over few days. And we identify the highest risk and notify the farmer. Farmer would take then go and spray the pesticide, so he can eventually avoid the disease occurrence, and also it facilitates him to target his pesticide sprays. So overall, in a year, he would use less pesticide for given more yield.
This technique is used.
Yes, sir. It is now the product has been launched in 2017 April, and now they are expanding it into Korea.
How many farmers are dealing of it?
So now in Japan there are 1,000 greenhouses. In Korea they are yet to launch the product.
1,000 greenhouses which
Yes,
are
sir.
using this.
Yes, sir.
And how many greenhouses do you have in Japan?
So the market potential they claim to make is like 1,50,000, more than 1,50,000 greenhouses.
Of which 1,000 are using this technology.
We have it was only launched in 2017. So now currently the product was sold to 1,000 greenhouses, more than 1,000.
So what you have got to do is to detect the rising humidity.
So what we are detecting there is the risk of the pest occurrence based on humidity and temperature.
I don't know. And there is nothing of this type as far as the Indian market is concerned.
So
Is there any potential for similar sorts of technologies to be employed in India?
Yes, sir, there is a huge potential in India.
Uh,
The one bottleneck which we have is such data is not available where corporate can leverage it and come up with solutions.
okay. What is the subject that your father teaches in school?
So my father is a primary school teacher, so
So he
he
teaches
teaches
all
all
the
the
subjects.
subjects.
Okay, okay, okay. And what is this idea called an alpha making for a crowdsourced hedge fund?
Sir, during my college days, I have started this to keep in touch with my financial engineering. I regularly submit trading strategies to a world fund called a crowdsourced hedge fund called World Quant. So, alpha making is to come up with trading strategies which can provide better returns than the market returns.
Better returns than the market returns.
Yes, sir, if we follow the Sensex, if we are able to provide more returns than this compared to the Sensex, it could be counted as an alpha.
Okay, so you yet engage with this fund?
Yes, sir. I I don't pursue it like I used to do in the earlier cases. Now I am submitting 21 alpha to alphas per month just to keep in touch.
Okay, okay. And what's the volume of trade that we're talking about?
Sir, we submit the trading strategies. The fund takes care of how they use those alphas in the actual market. So it is a platform where they pull all the ideas from the individual people who submit.
So what is the last one that you have worked on? The
Sir,
last business strategy?
sir, I worked on the inventory based idea.
Okay.
So my idea was if a certain company has a fast turning turnover in their inventories, they are expected to be more efficient, especially if their products are of high cost. For example, we can take Apple as an example. But for the companies which have very less uh, product cost, maybe FMCG products, their inventory turnover need not be correlated with the high market returns. So this is an alpha idea.
What are you doing in civil service? I just don't understand this.
Like I said, I would want to contribute more. Uh,
You can contribute by doing whatever you're doing as of now.
yes, sir, I definitely believe it. However, I feel I can contribute more coming into the civil services, especially when the world and we are moving towards data-based policy and evidence-backed policy interventions.
Give me one example where that is happening in India.
Uh, so currently the whole Aadhaar exercise to enable the targeting of the schemes I would consider it as a one scheme where we're trying to have that efficient targeting based on the data.
You consider it. We are trying to. Imagine the word which you're using. Has to for a very simple thing. Give me an example of evidence-based policy making in India.
Yes, sir, I would feel that as an evidence-based policy making because over the years we have tried several poverty alleviation programs, but we found that we are not able to target better. So we found that targeting is one of the weakest link, and we took that as an Aadhaar was proposed as a solution to overcome the same problem. So I still believe that is an evidence-based policy making.
You believe, is it considered one? Does the government of India say that it is an evidence-based policy making instrument?
So I'm not aware of whether the government has said.
That's the beauty of the whole situation. It's the beauty of the whole situation. There are half things which you are not aware of. And the other half is what you strongly believe in. And most of the time you strongly believe in something which is just not demonstrable on the ground. How many legislative assembly constituencies does the district of Nellore have?
So I don't remember the exact number, but it is somewhere around 12 or 13.
12 or 13.
Yes, sir.
And what is the particular segment from which you come?
I come from a segment called Akmaguru.
Atmaguru is a separate assembly constituency.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And who is the MLA from this section?
So Mr. Mikapati Gautam Reddy.
And what party does he belong to?
So he belongs to YSR Congress Party.
YSR Congress Party.
Yes.
Okay. Don't you think Andhra has a number of regional based parties? Practically all. If you look at all the political parties in Andhra that are significant, both in, say, for example, if I look at the coming election cycle, practically everybody that stands a chance of getting through is a regional political party. What explains the phenomenon?
Uh, Andhra state itself has a linguistic basis for its formation.
All the states in India have it.
So Andhra was, I would say, the first linguistic state. So naturally, it had this during the time of the state demands. It was a platform for the regional parties to demand for the local problems. Post that, even but however, there is also I would like to differ with you. Congress is still a major contender in Andhra Pradesh, and Telugu Desam and YSR Congress were the other regional parties. So Congress and BJP both are existing parties within Andhra Pradesh.
Do you think they have any reasonable chance in the coming election cycle of being anywhere?
So in the coming elections, they might not. However, the Congress party was the ruling party.
Dear
before.
me, the point is, if you are an actual political party, you are obviously present across the nation. That's not the point. And Andhra's linguistic demands were furthered by people coming from a national political party called as the Congress. There was no regional political party when the demand for Andhra was voiced, taken to its logical conclusion in the formation of a separate state called as Andhra. The question is very straightforward as to why do we witness this phenomena of regional political parties in such a huge scale in a single state of the union called as Andhra.
So language
Is there any other state in India where you would witness a similar phenomenon?
is in Tamil Nadu the major parties were regional parties. In Karnataka also regional parties have a strong hold. I think across India we see this phenomena, and more we are expected to see this more often.
So again, what you go, the point is about Andhra. Why? What explains that Andhra has ruling party which is a regional party, opposition party which is a regional party, a party which is strong enough to become an opposition party, which is also a regional party.
Yes, sir, it is because of the agricultural areas and also the caste factor, and the process which through which the bifurcation has been done. If we see before bifurcation, there was large presence of national party, but post bifurcation, the sentiments grew stronger. Maybe that could be the reason why the regional parties have found more public.
What is the difference between national political party in India and regional political party in India?
Uh, So national political party is expected to get some percentage of votes, at least in 4 states, or there are other criteria given by election commission. Whereas the regional parties could be very well located and focused in only one certain state.
But you don't have any idea about what is the specific criteria.
So I don't remember the specific criteria.
You don't remember,
Yes.
but you are aware of them.
I used to remember, sir. I cannot recall.
How many parliamentary constituencies does Andhra have?
Sir, Andhra has 22 parliamentary constituencies.
22.
Yes, sir.
I'm sure Andhra has 22 political parliamentary constituencies.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Nellore is where you come from. You have a regional political party. You just don't know as to what should be done with that. Okay. So, what can you tell me about the developments in connection with this whole problem that is happening between the United States of America and China as far as the trading front is concerned? And how do they impact a country like India?
So currently there is an ongoing trade war between USA and China, where USA is for asking China to take measures so that trade deficit against USA should be reduced. While to do that, USA has raised the tariffs on Chinese exports. China has retaliated by having the counter tariffs. Uh, so this is the ongoing situation, and this kind of trade friction is being seen as rising protectionism, where now China is uh, at a faster growth space, is set to take over USA as a larger economy. If we compare with the purchasing power parity, it is already the largest economy. I think USA is trying to uh, control and stabilize its own position with compared to China. So one of the way it could do is uh, to control the markets in a way which benefits USA. For example, now the earlier the competency of China USA is based on the edge it had in the technology and the manufacturing domain. However, China has been fastly closing in with the gap. Now, high-end manufacturing and design is also taking place in China. Evidence we can see with the kind of traction Chinese-made mobile companies are getting market even in other countries like India and Asia regions, for that matter, even in EU and USA. So it is, I think, in the national interest of USA to consider to erect this protectionism barriers, and China want to take is now seen as the country trying to protect the global liberal order.
How does this impact a country like India?
So any anything which leads to trade frictions and trade barriers creates an volatile environment in global economies, which can in turn push rupee into an volatile situation. And if it triggers currency wars, India also runs a trade deficit with China. So India could see the damage with respect to its exports. Our exports,
exports.
yes, sir, our exports might become less competitive if the trade wars and
What
currency
is it that
wars
we are
begin.
exporting?
Sorry, sir.
What is it that we are exporting?
Sir, we are major exporters of petroleum exports and diamonds and also the services.
So how would that get impacted?
Sir, all these services, all these exports depend on the currency exchange rate. If the currency exchange is very volatile, that increases the hedging costs which the firms have to pay up front. So in turn, it makes our exports less competitive.
So anyway, we have a problem as far as exports are concerned. Even without this, our exports are very well, are less competitive because there's hardly any value addition to it.
So for us to grow and grow at a faster pace, exports are essential. Currently, the exports contribute less. However, this situation makes it
What is
harder.
the contribution to the GDP of exports? You have any idea? How much is trade a percentage of GDP in India?
Sorry, sir, I'm not aware of.
Not aware of it. Okay.
What is wrong as far as India Pakistan relationship is concerned?
So, I think India and Pakistan relations, even though we have passed 70 years, we haven't yet found solutions for foundational problems, and still we are not at currently at a table where the talks could be possible. And each time when we try to create these talks, they are being disrupted by various terror events and various other domestic events.
No, that's the question. Why that is happening?
Uh, Sir, I think it happens but for one reason because the problem itself is very complex. So it is challenging to solve this. The second reason why what I see is especially in South Asia for trade relations and economic
No, let us make it
relations.
very simple. What is holding both of them, both countries to come together or coming together?
So the major part where they could not agree is Kashmir.
Okay.
We could not settle the borders. Both countries have claims on the Pak occupied Kashmir.
If you look at the issue of Kashmir, especially last 4 or 5 years, what do you think? Whether the internal dimension of the problem or the external dimension, which is responsible for the present state?
Sir, I think both factors have contributed to it,
And there is no doubt about that.
and the external dimension has always been present. But I see, given the increase in violence in Kashmir, it is majorly while this factor has already been present, they were able to take leverage of social media and other technological platforms uh, to spread the news and to leverage the existing
The
scenario.
visibility has increased, you mean to
Yes,
say that?
the visibility and the forces, outside forces who want to use the situation, they were able to succeed because of the
See,
technology.
there is a perception that you can correct it, that the present government's policy has failed badly.
So,
Even in maintaining status quo, forget improving the situation.
sir, I don't think current government has failed in it. We have seen such cycles of violence in Kashmir. I think it was a long-standing problem. We are not able to address the demands for employment and other. There has been a continuous presence of army and armed forces of SPA Act
So
present.
do you see any way out?
Yes, sir.
What would you suggest?
So what I suggest is it is a complex problem and there could not be one size fits for all solution. We need to look at the problem at different areas, maybe dividing the Kashmir itself into those three regions, and each region has a separate expectations. First, we need to strengthen our border security so that we don't have any incoming infiltrators. So once we contain the security scenario, we can have positive developmental interventions. Without having the security seat, even our developmental efforts could be threatened. Uh, Once we do that, we have to renew the uh, initiatives, even sometimes led by army. Army has also been part of the developmental interventions. So if we could increase the people-to-people contacts, if we can provide alternative livelihoods for the Kashmiri youth, I think slowly we can
Do
show.
you, do you, sorry, did you see any such effort in last 4 5 years
Uh,
on part of the central government?
Yes, sir. I don't remember the particular schemes, but there were schemes which were planned to do exactly this to increase people-to-people contact by offering scholarships for Kashmiri students to study in other parts of India, and also livelihood development programs where the traditional skills were supported.
How do you look at the link between democracy and elections?
So, elections are vital cog in a democracy.
Okay.
And democracy by the people for the people. Elections is a conduit where it channelizes what public wants and public feels, so that they can elect the representatives.
But don't you think that it has become so important that our democracy being reduced to only elections,
Sir,
nothing beyond that?
Sir, I agree with you at a certain part that elections are being gained more and more importance, but it has not so dire as well because we are having debates of simultaneous elections, etc. in the country too. We are thinking towards it, uh, but given the importance of elections in a democracy, it is obvious that elections would be fiercely contested with the existing political parties. But if we could strengthen our institutions, which like the civil services and other institutions like regulators, we can ensure the policy continuity. So
If
that
you are asked to suggest three major initiatives as far as working up Indian democracy is concerned, let us say area of reforms,
uh,
what would be those?
so first and foremost, I would like to uh, put a goal that our public service delivery has to increase. I think it is one of the area which is a root cause of many problems like less tax collection and also for a reason behind political patronage and politics and crime nexus. So if a common man can get the services which were promised by law and the government without any intervention, I think we could solve not many problems.
What is responsible if we don't have effective and speedy public delivery system? Uh, are we supposed to blame the political representative? Okay, are we supposed to blame the administrative machinery, or also the blame goes to somewhere the society?
Sir, I would say both uh, political representatives and administrative mechanism are there to serve their masters who are public. Uh, Both have to work in conjunction and with a lot of coordination to
That is
facilitate.
not happening.
Uh, so then the blame has to be for both. Political masters should give the direction and set the vision, and the administrative mechanism should facilitate and give honest advices and also help in the realization of the vision set by political executive.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update from the Unique Academy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Stay tuned.